And by Radio Network.
Coventry Homes, the preferred builder of the Edmonton Oilers, brings you your Edmonton lineup. And don't forget, it'll be Laurent Brossoit in the pipes tonight. He stopped 24 of 27 in a 6-3 win over Vancouver back at Rogers Place on Friday. For Carolina, and head coach Bill Peters coming off that 6-2 thumping of Edmonton on Monday, which was the Oilers' first loss of the preseason. It'll be Cam Ward, a Saskatoon native, like Todd McClellan, who, of course, played 4 years with the Blades in the mid-1980s. Ward in the pipes. He's likely going to be a 1B or maybe even a number 2 behind Scott Darling, who got the win on Monday this year for Carolina. Hayden Fleury, a talented rookie whom they hope makes the team, alongside Trevor Van Riemsdyk, one of several Chicago Blackhawks expatriates. And, of course, you've got another of them, Marcus Kruger, taking the opening face-off against Connor McDavid, as we're underway with Carolina in the red and the white trim, and Edmonton, of course, in its whites with the blue and orange outlines. And it's a dump in for Carolina. Connor McDavid scampers back to collect the puck and then quickly sifted it over to his good friend Darnell Nurse. It was slapped in front of the Oiler net, dug out and cleared by Patrick Maroon up through center ice. McDavid overran the play, and we've got an offside coming. Our linesmen tonight, Brad Kovacek and Brian Mock, with the referees Brad Watson and Tom Shebolowski. Face-off comes outside the Carolina blue line. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer reunited. Reed Wilkins, Rob Brown back in our 630 Ched Studios. And Bob, I can't thank you enough for the fantastic work that you, Rob, and Reed did in my 3-game hiatus.
All right, well, let's get after it. Let's have some fun. Thanks for that.
Off the draw, the Carolina Hurricanes bang it in deep. And here's Sebastian Aho, left circle, wrist shot, and he put it up high over the right shoulder of Brossoit, and it caromed off the glass all the way inside the Carolina blue line. Klaus Dahlbeck back to collect for the Hurricanes. Sifts it over quickly to his D partner tonight, Jake Bean, but it's funneled back through the middle, and Dahlbeck will have to try again. This time it's Aho streaking in from the left side, one of the better players that no one knows about in the National Hockey League. Inside, a one-timer taken by Trevor Karakas, blocked, and here comes Jesse Puljujarvi off to the races. Right wing shot towed aside by Ward, who went down to get that one, and the rebound collected by Jake Chelios, son of Chris. Left wing attack zone, and he's fought for and ultimately coughed up the puck by Adam Larson, who really pounced on him and forced it back the other way. Martin Necas back to collect for the Carolina Hurricanes, kicks it back to Chelios, and then sifts a pass from center ice all the way down into the Oilers zone. It's left for Adam Larson by Brossoit, and played up the left wing boards by Johan Avitu, the Oiler defenseman trying to earn a spot. Here's Zach Kassian gliding back behind the Carolina net. Backhander score! Came out in front, no one picked him up, and Kassian caromed it off the left goal post and into the back of the net for a 1-0 Oiler lead at 1:49.
Oh, excellent work by the big man, but already some concern for the Edmonton Oilers. On the Puljujarvi breakaway, which was stopped, Ryan Strome blocked the shot, Jack. He needed to be helped off the bench, or off the ice, straight off the bench, under the tunnel. It did not look good. As for the follow-up with the later shift coming up with Cassian, tremendous effort, creates the goal, good net front presence from a couple of Oilers players, and they have a quick lead.
Off the draw, Van Riemsdyk up the left-hand side. Di Giuseppe will send it in for Carolina. And it could be a real missed opportunity for Ryan Strome to demonstrate his talents in the middle, Bob. He was stationed between Kassian and Drake Caggiula, entering tonight as a third-line center. Again, a guy who's been added by Edmonton for depth at that position. Carolina, meanwhile, works the attacking zone, and getting it in deep and shooting wide from the left circle was Di Giuseppe. It kicked off the boards and all the way back to center, and now offside will be whistled against Carolina and Nicolas Waugh. 2:20 having elapsed in this first period, and Edmonton on top by a score of 1-0. Zach Kassian's first goal of the preseason.
You said it, Jack. I mean, there was an opportunity there for Strome at center. When Peter Chiarelli made the trade, he said, look, he had his greatest success, his 50-point year at center. Last couple of years, a lot of time on the right wing. This was his first preseason game down the middle, and judging by how he went off and how little pressure he could actually put on his foot, it did not look good for the Oilers.
Josh Juris playing wing tonight, but you can also take take draws, wins a faceoff from Chris Kelly in the neutral zone after the Carolina offside call, but the Oilers ultimately were able to toss it down the right-hand boards and safely back to center. Swept in by Marcus Kruger. Canes are a little weak in terms of productivity down the middle. They've got scoring wingers, and Kruger will give them depth, Bob, but not a sniper by any stretch of the imagination.
He's replacing Jay McClement this season for Carolina.
Carolina gets it in deep. Edmonton immediately wheels it up the left-hand boards, and Ward, who was beaten on a backhander that was along the ice and caromed off the post and in, will send it over to Chelios. And now we've got a delayed penalty coming against Edmonton. Carolina on a breakout. It's Chelios, who's had 3 years now of pro hockey at the American Hockey League level. He tosses it over to Carrick, an offensively gifted blue liner. And now Kruger harassing his Draisaitl up ice. This delayed penalty has now been in effect for about 15-20 seconds here. Elias Lindholm, a number shift for him as he yields 16 to Kruger. He's wearing 28 this year. Lindholm off to center ice and Aho. Driving in right-hand side, drop pass for Rask to the middle. Quick shot, save Brossoit. And a rebound kicked aside as well before finally touching up is Milan Lucic. And we'll have a hooking call whistled against the Oilers at 3:38 of this first period. And to the box will be Brad Malone, who scored twice the other night in an Edmonton preseason victory. And Malone's a guy, a former Hurricane.
Speech on. Full track position. Full 6. Next 4 play. Button. Speech on. Speech on. Go to video. Auto cap preview play. Forward 10 sec. Next video. 4 play. But the vocal effect. Go to the vocal effect. Auto cap player preview play. Button. Pause. Track position.
And he's already got a penalty here. Good news for Oilers fans. I obviously failed physics and will not be a doctor in the future. That's
Ryan Strome's back.
Ryan Strome is on the bench, so rumors of Ryan's demise tonight has been greatly exaggerated. He's back out there.
Off the face-off, twisted over to Jake Bean, and now you've got Natchez, who tried to center, and that was broken up, and the Oilers able to chip it out, and here's Kassian off to the races, left wing. He's in on a breakaway. Wrist shot denied by Ward, and then it caromed off the outside of the post, and the Hurricanes are able to find the rebound with a clear made by Bean up through center, but Kassian, that burst of speed, left wing, dishing down low, and it's tossed in deep by Aho. Now Rask will play it over to Natchez, their first-round pick this past summer. Out to Bean. He can really light it up from the blue line. Shot from the point, deflected, and fired down the ice by Matt Benning with 1:18 on the penalty to Brad Malone. But Kassian, Bob, every year you and I see him, he seems to have leaned out even more, and it really shows with his speed to the outside.
He's an excellent bottom six forward for the Oilers.
Carrick in over the line. Di Giuseppe wheels it around the boards. Kassian with the game's opening goal. It's 1-0 Edmonton. Oilers on a penalty kill. Brought to you by the Brick right now. Carrick a shot sent wide. Rebound collected by Derek Ryan, the one-time University of Alberta standout who cracked the NHL regular lineup at the age of 30 last year and had a fine season. But he can't contain down low, and the Oilers rifle it down the ice. Canes peel back in their own zone. It's Carrick looking up ice down the right-hand side. Skinner did not make contact with a puck, so it's an icing call against the Canes.
Speech on. Listening to Eddie Jeffrey on Spotify. Vertical 2011-1000. Full game. Track fulls 18. Next 4 pause. Button. Play. Next fulls track position. Full game archive. Description. Full 5:39 legs. Streamed live on September 27th, 2007. Video auto cap play preview play. Button. Pause. 4 net 8 fulls 18 minutes.
Can really make some plays.
Extend track is 18 minutes.
Power play.
And you said it, they don't have high-end offensive centers. They're hoping that Natchez
18 minutes 20. Fulls track position. 18 minutes 21 seconds of 2 hours 26 minutes 19 seconds. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
Power play.
And you said it, they don't have high-end offensive centers. They're hoping that Natchez will be a guy down the road that can be that for them, a right shot guy that can really make some plays. But they're lacking that sort of front-line, first-line center, and there's the Oilers with, you can make an argument, 3 of them.
Natchez 12th overall this summer at the 2017 draft. Yamamoto went 22nd. The man who leads all NHL goal scorers in the preseason with 5. Dump in by Carolina. Larson does not get it out. Canes with 15 with work to work on the power play, but then Larson stole an entry pass and lasered it down the middle of the ice.
That was Strome's first shift since blocking that shot.
Van Riemsdyk will take the puck from Hayden Fleury, chip it over to Josh Juris. He'll send it in. Chris Russell with Edmonton now back at full strength, handling the puck for the Oilers. So Carolina 0 for 1 on the power play. Matt Benning the outlet, and Brad Malone, freed from the sin bin, was able to muscle it out to center. Tossed quickly back in by Kruger of Carolina, but Benning is there for Edmonton, and he sends it over to Chris Russell. Back to Benning. Outlet left wing for Jesse Puljujärvi, who had his earlier chance. A partial break towed aside by Cam Ward. He, of course, had an excellent game over the weekend. 2 goals and an assist playing with Connor McDavid. Lead pass right side, Juris, and this will be whistled for an offside by Brian Mock. And with that, we'll take our first break of the evening. We're live at Sascatuan Center, where the Oilers 5-1 in the preseason collide with Carolina 4-1. Back with more live play-by-play in just a moment. It's more dealing with NHL hockey. Oilers Radio Network. Game, if you will. It's the last change for the Carolina Hurricanes. It's their home game, and a face-off in the dot immediately outside the Edmonton line. McDavid felt like that should not have been a legal draw, but the Canes win it and rifle it indeed. Laurent Brossoit in the pipes for the Edmonton Oilers. 2-0 in the preseason, coming in with a .907 save percentage, and Edmonton with a clear up the right-hand side. Lindholm takes an outlet pass, feeds Aho in over the line. Only Austin Matthews among NHL rookies shot the puck more often than Sebastian Aho. And last year just finished 1 point shy of 50. Picks it up left corner, feeds to the front of the net. Backhander save, Brossoit on Victor Rask, and the rebound cleared out to the point. Another shot taken by Fleury, this one blocked. Then left for Aho, who created that play down low, even though it was Lindholm ultimately finding Rask. Aho created the chance, and Edmonton fortunate to wind it up the left-hand side. Nurse getting it out.
He's a smart player, made Puljujärvi and Laine look pretty good in Finland, winning the World Junior Championship.
Fleury will walk it down low, up the right-hand side. It's Cassian trying to dig along with Ryan Strome. His miraculous recovery continues. Carolina with a puck off at Edmonton clear. Shoveled in by Dahlbeck, and missing it was Laurent Brossoit. Of course, Dahlbeck and Trevor Van Riemsdyk played in this arena against the Oilers a couple years ago when they were with the Blackhawks. 6 ex-Blackhawks in the Carolina lineup at various points this season. Here's Necas up the left-hand side for Jeff Skinner. 37 goals a year ago to Derek Ryan. Centering pass broken up out to the point, and a shot sent wide by Jake Bean. Picked up by Edmonton and cleared Chris Russell to Ryan Strome, and from center ice he'll wrist it down deep. Ward did knock it down. 1-0 Oilers, 8 minutes in. First period right here on your home of Oilers hockey. 630 Ched, the flagship home in the Oilers Radio Network. Up the left-hand side, Valentin Zykov, and he got chested up by Brad Malone. Knocked off balance, got back into the play and kept it alive at the point for Waugh. Down low in the corner, battling is Di Giuseppe. Johan Avitu, who, along with Chris Kelly, assisted on the Cassian goal, forcing it up the right-hand side, but Di Giuseppe able to contain and force it back into the right corner. Kelly comes down low to offer defensive support. Zykov battling Adam Larson now, and Larson able to shake free of that traffic, and it's a real logjam in the corner. Finally pulled free by Kelly, back to Larson, behind the net into more traffic for Avito, and eventually spun off the boards and out by a Puckarinen, but I believe it caught one of the Oilers on the Edmonton bench. So bring the face-off back into the Oilers zone to the left of Laurent Brossoit. 1-0 Edmonton, 11:09 to go in the first.
From our vantage point here, which is 60 feet above the Oilers bench, when Strome went off the ice, I mean, it bit him. He looked to be in significant distress, Jack. Obviously, the puck hit him in the right spot.
Well, the wrong spot initially,
but
then it turned out to be the right spot. Face off, left side of Brossoit, and Draisaitl won it cleanly for Edmonton. He of the 77 points last year, 8th in the NHL. Cleared up the left-hand side. Darnell Nurse will pinch and join the attack along with Milan Lucic, and behind the Carolina net, Draisaitl. One-timer from a sharp angle, Puljujärvi, blocked by Cam Ward. Rebound Draisaitl, lifted off his stick, and Carolina will settle it down. I don't mind that shot from Puljujärvi. Keep being aggressive.
Yeah. Decisive actions, that's what he's got to do.
He's got the puck now for the Oilers and leaves it for Draisaitl at center ice. Draisaitl waiting for Puljujärvi to get ahead of steam, and then he tried to feed him right wing. Fleury came over and I believe took a slashing penalty on him. Got the stick in the hands of Jesse Puljujärvi, and that's the poise, I believe, of Leon Draisaitl to create. They're going to send it the other way and say Puljujärvi whistled for the slash. So Fleury comes in tight, and Puljujarvi actually slashed him to create a little space.
Not sure that was a penalty last year, but it's a penalty here in preseason. And you don't, if you're the Oilers, you don't want Puljujarvi.
Speech on. Full track position. Speech off.
Whistled down the ice by Buckarinen. Grabbed by Derek Ryan, and down the ice comes Jeff Skinner. Into the offensive zone, he'll pull up left side, kick it back to the point, and Carrick. Now Skinner faked the slap pass over to Ryan, but had it tipped anyways. And now Chris Russell chests him up and forces it back to the point. Carrick over to Skinner, high slot, Waugh shot, save made by Laurent Brossoit, and he'll squeeze it with 9:54 to go in the first period and a minute 26 on the penalty to a brick penalty kill, saving you money on furniture, mattresses, appliances, and electronics.
Jack, I'm going to throw a trivia question at you from the get-go here. So Jeff Skinner, 3-time 30-goal scorer. How many times has Taylor Hall scored 30 goals?
None.
Same draft year. Skinner was Rookie of the Year. We all think of Taylor Hall being amongst the elite NHL wingers. Is Jeff Skinner not one of the most underrated guys in the entire National Hockey League? 37 goals last year.
But is that not what happens when you play in Raleigh? I mean, we're talking about Sebastian Aho. Carolina has some sneaky depth on the back end as well, Bob, but no one knows about it because they're dead last in the league in attendance. Off the draw, chipped down low, booted to the corner by Darnell Nurse out there with Gribe on the penalty kill. McDavid and Drake Caggiula wearing 91 this year instead of the 36 he preferred last season. High slot, loading up and now dishing over to Necas was Jake Bean, who's got the puck back. Gives it up, Sebastian Aho, left circle. Waiting, working it to the corner for Lindholm. Aho, and out to Bean one more time in the high slot. Jake Bean, Calgary hitman the last 3 years. Loading up, basically a point-per-game player in that league. A centering pass, one-timer to save on Victor Rask. Brossoit makes the stop after another sublime feed from Sebastian Aho. 42 seconds left of the penalty to Puljujarvi. And Brossoit, a couple of fine stops on Carolina's last two power plays. This one, again, coming at the expense of Victor Rask.
Well, he fought the puck when we were in Winnipeg a week ago Wednesday. Martin Necas, did you see the play made? Kicked it up from his skate to his stick to open up the seam and provide an opportunity on Aho on the left side half boards. He's got some skill, this Necas. He's got a chance to be a player.
Well, he's the dark horse to make the team this year, Bob. Out of the Czech Republic. His name means bad weather in Czech. Necas means bad weather. Off the draw, it's lined down the left-hand side.
You have gone the extra mile for tonight's broadcast. I just want to establish.
Well, I had enough days on the pine. I figured I better study up. Here's Carrick up the left-hand side. Racing in is Skinner. You've got 15 seconds on the Carolina power play. Malone and Larson eat them up on those right half boards. Avito and Kelly protecting as well. You got all four Edmonton players at one point face off dot toward the boards on the right-hand side of the rink. Now, Avito comes over, breaks the play up on Waugh, and has drawn a slashing call against Nicolas Waugh. Here's Larson. One-touch pass to Draisaitl by Puljujarvi. Now left wing, it's Lucic over the line. And a pass cross ice was picked off by Brock McGinn. And now we'll have the stick infraction whistled against Nicolas Waugh. When we come back, the Oilers, having already erased two Carolina power plays and taken a 1-0 lead on a goal by Zach Cassian.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Off the draw in the Carolina zone, Canes were able to control, and they send it down the ice. Johan Avitu on this power play, brought to you by Atco Energy, your trusted Alberta retailer. McDavid closed off left half boards, and that's a good hit by Marcus Kruger. Exactly why they got him, Bob.
He's a smart defensive player, and he plays with a little bit of edge, and he was drafted the same year as Anton Lander, and he's had a much better career than Lander as a 5th-round pick.
Avitu looking left side for Milan Lucic. McDavid, Yamamoto, and Draisaitl round out this power play quintet. Fighting for control, McDavid and Lucic on the right half boards, but dug out initially by Dahlbeck. Good persistence by Draisaitl to keep the play alive right point. It's booted back to him. He'll slide step to his left and dish for Avitu. Open for a moment outside the left circle. Kicks it back to Draisaitl. Over to McDavid. Snapped it in front for Lucic. Waiting. Dishing back to McDavid. Coming off the right half boards. Lucic in front. Tried to slam it home, and Ward made the save. Lucic, a good year last season on the power play. Part of the reason he hit 20 goals again. 23 was where he finished. McDavid, Lucic, and now Draisaitl on the right side with 35 to go on the power play. McDavid one touch out to a V2. Snapped it back to McDavid. Cross ice, Draisaitl, backdoor. Lucic tucks it home. Beautiful tic-tac-toe. McDavid, Draisaitl, and Lucic mops up for a 2-0 Edmonton lead.
All 5 players were involved in that play. Yamamoto was the net front presence, and he actually checked the puck off a stick, and the Oilers kept the drive alive. And it was Oviedo opening it up to McDavid, who swung it back to Draisaitl, threads the needle through the seam, wide open on the back door as the Edmonton Oilers, Milan Lucic. He was never the net front presence. Zdeno Chara was there. And Lucic, I think, exceeded expectations on the power play, wants to be better 5-on-5.
Off the draw, Drake Caggiula will sling it in. Cam Ward will knock it down. Caggiula pestering Carolina's Trevor Carrick in the corner. Finally, it's Bean up the left-hand side and a clear back through center. I'm wondering whether Jake Chelios might have gotten banged up, Bob. We have not seen him on the ice in quite a while. Chris's son who played at Michigan State. Jeff Skinner had it slashed off his stick by Ryan Strome back into the Carolina zone. It's eventually Cam Ward up the right-hand side, and a hard hit on Natchez flattened him, Brad Malone, who's had a heck of a preseason. He's taken a few penalties, but he has had a good, solid preseason. Derek Ryan in from the left-hand side. Tom McClellan said he's delivered exactly what we expected. Canes will whip it around the boards right-hand side. Trying to go to work deep in the corner was Zykov, second-round pick of the LA Kings back in 2013. But the Oilers were able to brush that back to center. Tossed in left-hand side, chipped in front, and eventually corralled by Zykov. Out to the point, Fleury put it back in Zykov's skates. He recovered, but when he tried to go cross ice, Malone broke it up and backhanded it down the ice for the Oilers. 5:20 to play in this first period. It's 2-0 on goals by Zach Kassian and Milan Lucic. Carolina dumps it in. Up the right-hand side, you've got Connor McDavid. Looking right wing for Kyler Yamamoto. Out of the reach of Patrick Maroon. Fought for, controlled in the corner by Yamamoto, who has a penchant for keeping plays alive in the offensive zone. Here's Maroon in front, and he just missed Yamamoto, who will find it in the corner, work it over to Connor McDavid, who has 6 points now in his preseason time. That's tied for the league lead entering tonight. McDavid's got it back to Yamamoto along the end boards. Coming out of the left corner with a feed to Maroon. Broken up by Aho of Carolina, who carefully works the puck up the left-hand side. Larson in transition will go to Yamamoto and then Maroon across the line. Yamamoto slides by one guy, tries to center. Just missed Chris Russell sneaking down the slot. McDavid was there, and as he tried to shovel it toward the Carolina net, he had it broken up and cleared eventually by Josh Juris. These two teams split the season series last year for the third consecutive year. Oilers up the left-hand side and backhanded out to center by Puljujarvi. Kruger will knock it down. Lucic, Draisaitl, and Puljujarvi. And now you've got Trevor Carrick handling the puck for Carolina. Tried to send it down the middle, tipped in by Juris. Off the glass, Brossoit to Benning. And the Oilers extract and clear the zone without too much difficulty. Offside, Milan Lucic as Puljujarvi made an extra move to his right, and that drew the call. So with 4 minutes and change gone here in this first period, the Oilers... We're back with a live play-by-play. The Edmonton Oilers and the Carolina Hurricanes dipping just under 4 minutes now to play in this first period. 2-0 in favor of the Oilers at the Sascatuan Center in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you live. Reed Wilkins, Rob Brown back in our 630 CHED Studios, the flagship home of Oilers hockey. Here's Zach Kassian sending it down low left corner. He scored the first goal. Lucic the second on the power play. Shot a V2, and that's snared by Cam Ward in.
Speech on.
Carolina and head coach Bill Peters. 3:08 to go in the first period. Oilers by a deuce, and technically a home game. We talked about that at the outset, Bob, for Carolina, where they get the last change, but you certainly wouldn't know it judging by the color scheme inside Sascatuan Center.
I see one Carolina Hurricanes t-shirt here and about 14 to 1,600 oil.
Wednesday.
Chuck Gayton,
I'm not sure. .9% Oilers fans here in the house.
Face off of the dot to the immediate right of Cam Ward. 2-0 Edmonton. 3 minutes to go in the first.
Track position.
The wrist, it's Natchez reeling it in right corner offensive zone. Swept in front, attempted by Skinner, but then glanced off the side of the net. Played back down low by Chelio, so he's okay. He's back after missing a few shifts, and now a backhander chopped wide by Skinner. Taken by Natchez left corner. Larson sprints over to make a play on the puck for Edmonton, and with help from Puckarinen, it's cleared back to center. Rebound Natchez, pursued by Puckarinen, who eventually took the puck from him, but Derek Ryan was there with support. Nifty play by Carrick to hold the zone, and now he'll drop it off for Hayden Fleury. Around Brad Malone, reaching for it is Chris Kelly on a PTO with the Edmonton Oilers, trying to make the club. High slot, it's Carrick. He'll dish. Open man for a moment. Could not reel it in initially was Victor Rask. Now he grabs the puck, pursued by Larson. One time by Carrick, and he hit his own man, Skinner. Skinner appears to shake it off and be okay. He'll spin just inside the blue line, fake the slapper, then let a wrist shot fly. Deflected to Fleury, a shot, and that was sent fluttering.
Wins 242.
On Chris Kelly. Tough shift for Edmonton right now. Oilers just can't get it out of their own end.
Hurricanes can skate, Jack. They got speed on every line.
A V2 up the right-hand side, and finally it's slapped out by Larson. Carolina looks to pour back in. Oilers up 2-0 on goals by Lucic and Cassian. Grabbed by a V2. He'll bank it over to Adam Larson, and now charging down the right-hand side is Connor McDavid. Around Fleury to the net with a centering pass, and Maroon couldn't get there. Had his stick tied up in front. I think Juris got back defensively. Maroon ultimately could not hold the zone, and Aho breaks out with a late developing 4-on-3 for the Canes, left to right. He's in across the line. Challenged by Benning. Circles the net. Centers. Open man is Bean. Hesitates. Fires into a crowd. That was blocked. Benning had it and lost it. Bean will learn to shoot that puck right away, partner.
Yep.
Here's Aho coming off the left half board. Centering pass and a wrist shot half fanned on by Juris, and then fanning on it down low was Marcus Kruger. He'll keep it alive for his one-time Chicago teammate, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, acquired by Carolina from Vegas in exchange for a second-round pick. Final 45 seconds now, first period. Oilers regain the puck in their own zone. Russell and Benning will trade it, allow a line change to take place as Lucic, Draisaitl, and Puljujarvi come on. Here's Draisaitl on his horse, gliding through the neutral zone. Over the line to Lucic, back to Draisaitl, quick shot! And a save made by Cam Ward. He'll squeeze it with 25 seconds to go in the first, and that was well done. We've seen Draisaitl buy some time for Puljujarvi. That time, it was Lucic kind of biting.
Open net tap in, elected the shot, just about squeezing through the wickets of Cam Ward.
Matched the number on his back last year to Draisaitl with 29 goals on the season. 2-0 Oilers. Face-off coming to Cam Ward's right-hand side. Draisaitl and Puljujarvi coming. A shot blocked. Here's Draisaitl on his horse, gliding through the neutral zone. Over the line to Lucic. Back to Draisaitl. Quick shot. Save made by Cam Ward. He'll switch shot. Blockered aside by Brossoit. Rebound held in by Bean. Turning and firing into the chest of Brossoit was Nicolas Waugh. With 10 seconds to go in the first period. Oilers on top 2-0. Kassian from Kelly and a V2 at 1:49. And Lucic on the power play at 13-16 from McDavid and Draisaitl.
Good push here in the last 4 minutes or so. 5-on-5 from Carolina. They've had some of the territorial play. Again, this team can skate. They don't have a lot of toughness in their lineup at the best at times. But they've got some players that can move up front, and we know about their defense. That All-American team we're not seeing tonight, Jack.
Bob, they were 8 points out of a playoff spot last year, and they were 27th in the league in save percentage. If they get decent goaltending this year from Scott Darling, they may be a playoff team. Off the draw, clear by the Oilers. Final 10 seconds run off by Dahlbeck, and a 2-0 lead for Edmonton through 20 in a competitive matchup. I mean, the Oilers basically dressing, I think you could call it 16 guys who've seen significant NHL minutes on a regular basis. Carolina, by my count, probably 11 players in that category, so Edmonton dressing a stronger lineup. But you mentioned speed, the great equalizer, and Carolina has plenty of it up and down the lineup. It may be 2-0 Edmonton, but this has been a competitive game.
It has. I mean, the one line that the Oilers have, Brad Malone, who, by the way, is engaged, of all things, to Kirk Muller's daughter. Of course, Kirk Muller spent some time in the Carolina organization for a while.
So you've done way more homework. I mean, you've got the social. I mean, you're appealing to those, those people on the social media. We have a lot of the scoop here.
Jack, I got to
tell Oilers tonight in Saskatoon. It's a 2-0 lead after the opening. Zach Kassian at even strength. Milan Lucic on the power play. I'm Jack Michaels alongside Bob. What do you see in this game moving forward?
Well, the adjustment of the game, Roger. An association of chiropractors. If it hurts to see a chiropractor, visit albertachiro.com. I think the Oilers defense, when they get the opportunity, they're quick. The one thing Carolina can do is they can skate, they can get in on the forecheck. Oilers have had one line in particular, that's Malone, Kelly, Packerman in the line, have some challenges on the forecheck and been hemmed in a bit.
McDavid wins the face-off against Marcus Kruger of Carolina, and then it's worked up the right-hand side by Greiba, but that's going to be an obvious icing call here. 10 seconds into the second period. Oilers struck first, less than 2 minutes in. Kassian allowed to just roam behind the net and wheel all the way out between the... where he beat Cam Ward with a backhander off the post and in. Off the face-off, quick shot into the glove of Laurent Brossoit, a wrister from Hayden Fleury, and then the second goal, power play beauty. Edmonton capitalizing on its only Atco Energy power play of the game. Bob sharing the puck, and Lucic able to finish it off.
Well, and Milan's really benefited from that role. He's done a good job. I think he's actually a better net front presence than Maroon. Maroon maybe a little bit better scoring from the outside, but in the paint there, Lucic can plant himself, that 230-plus pound body, difficult to move.
Off the face-off, Brock McGinn hammered by Eric Greiba into the corner. It was Greiba whose errant toss led to the icing call, led to this offensive zone attack for Carolina. McGinn staying with it. Had a tough year last year, 3 goals in 56 games before he got a couple in the finale. Still battling, along with Darnell Nurse, who twists it free to McDavid, who successfully backhands it up to Patrick Maroon. His lead pass for Yamamoto, intercepted by Marcus Kruger, and Carolina able to reset. Canes in the red, Oilers in the white. And attacking from right to left and in over the line is Lindholm. Snapped one on net, stick save made by Brossoit. Rebound Benning. And he'll play it off the left-hand boards. Maroon couldn't find it. Aho brings it back in, wrists it down deep. Lindholm in on the forecheck, turned over by Edmonton, and a quick shot taken, but wide from Jake Bean. Benning put it right on his stick, but Bean missed the net. A guy who a couple years ago, Bob, led the Western Hockey League among defensemen with 24 goals on the year. Lucic a steal. Ahead to Draisaitl, right wing one-on-one. Wrist shot on net. Save made by Ward. Low percentage chance for Draisaitl. Lucic on the rebound. Trades the puck with Russell, then sent it across for a V2. Clipped one wide of the net, taken by Draisaitl. Spinning top of the right circle. He'll give it up for Puljujarvi. Chopped at by Aho. Able to shrug him off. Dahlbeck came over to close out. Lucic in on the forecheck, and he'll kick it back to Larson. Right wing shot into a crowd, glanced wide. Rebound to V2. Put it behind the net for Puljujarvi. Hesitated and coughed it up for Victor Rask of Carolina. He did not get it out. Lucic finished him off. Kept it alive momentarily for Ryan Strome, but Carolina's able to go D-to-D and eventually worked up to Aho. At center ice, he'll chip and charge. In fact, he'll peel off and head to the bench on a line change. So now it's up to Derek Reinen on the forecheck, but it's easily cleared by Drake Caggiula of Edmonton. Back to the Carolina line. Chelios staggers his way up the right-hand side, and now Necas pulls up, deep right corner. Hands for Chelios. Down behind the net on his backhand, taken off the puck by Caggiula. But Necas is there. And the 18-year-old to Chelios. Centering pass and an active stick from Brossoit. Tipped it away. Strome outreach for the puck, but second effort, he'll nudge it as far as the blue line. Third try, finally gets it out. Dropping a stick was Carrick, and Carolina has to wheel back into its own zone. Skinner will drop for Chelios. Carrick gains the zone, right wing, cross ice. Necas back door, and Derek Ryan not prepared for that pass. It was right on his stick.
He's got to finish that one.
I like Necas here. Slap shot from the point. A save made on Carrick by Brossoit. Puck drops at his feet, and he never kind of panicked or lost sight of the puck. Slid to his left and eventually gobbled it up like a shortstop. 3:09 having elapsed in this second period. 2-0 Edmonton. And Bob, you said it about 5 minutes in. Brossoit seems to be locked in tonight.
Yeah, he's finding the puck. I mean, in Winnipeg, especially the first 5 minutes, the Oilers, the plain legs were, in effect for the full first 15 minutes. But he didn't inspire confidence. He got the start over the weekend. Settled down there in the course of that game, did Brossoit in Winnipeg. But had some tough moments as well at home, but he's looking pretty good tonight.
Off the draw, turned over by Darnell Nurse. Di Giuseppe centering pass caught the outside of the cage. And the carom eventually back to Bean. Off to Zykov, trying to paw his way past Darnell Nurse, but he keeps him to the outside, does Darnell. Zykov trapped in the left-hand corner. Gives way, and a centering pass to Giuseppe off the mark. Caromed off the boards, held in by Dahlbeck, who's played in Chicago, Arizona, and now Carolina. Here's Nurse trying to slither his way free up the left-hand side. Could not get it out initially. Chris Kelly there trying to check his man off the puck, and he does so for Puckarinen. Little burst of speed up the right-hand side. Puckarinen will send it down low. Last neutral site game Puckarinen played was one to forget for him, as he badly damaged his knee in a game played against LA in Vernon, BC last year. It's part of Kraft Hockeyville. Now Russell off a Carolina turnover takes control of the puck for Edmonton in his own blue line. Scampers to center, misses McDavid and Yamamoto, but the puck sent in deep. Controlled by Dahlbeck. Yamamoto with the active stick got a piece of an outlet pass, but it was jammed off the glass out to center. Lead pass left wing for McGinn. To the middle of the ice, and Juris tried to backhand it in front for Van Riemsdyk, but that was broken up, and the puck sent skittering back to center. Handling it is Hayden Fleury. Off to Juris. He'll backhand it in for Carolina, but Russell cuts that one off. Backhands it up the glass, and down the right-hand side, they'll wave off icing. Fleury back together for Carolina. 7th overall, 4 picks behind Draisaitl in 2014. And again, this is a young, emerging blue line. They've already got Slavin and Pesce tied up down the right-hand side. Quick shot off the rush and a save on Lindholm made by Brossoit from long range. Easy chance. He handles it. Draisaitl with a backhand clear for Maroon. And now here comes Edmonton. Gaining the line, Larson turned over. Aho's got a breakaway on a pass down the chute. Backhander denied, Brossoit. And Puljujarvi clears the rebound up the right wing, and here comes Lucic with a burst of speed, heading for the net. Checked by Jake Chelios off the puck. Chelios handled that one well. Draisaitl active stick, kept it alive. Drive, and that was blocked by Carrick. Rebound to Nurse, coughed it up. Looking up ice and missing his man. was Chelios. Gryba nudged it back to the Carolina line. Carrick ahead for Natchez, and he was checked off the puck by Puljujarvi, who's had a pretty strong showing thus far. But here, Carolina given a second chance, and Natchez able to deflect a centering feed from Skinner on net. Brossoit on it again to make the save. Brossoit stopping the breakaway from Aho. Larson got caught down low left corner, Bob, and that opened a seam down the middle. But again, Brossoit made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, he's had a solid performance tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, and you know we've talked about Martin Natchez for the last 2 games, Jack.
Checked off the puck by Puljujarvi, who's had a pretty strong showing thus far. But here, Carolina given a second chance, and Natchez able to deflect a centering feed from Skinner on net. Brossoit on it again to make the save. Brossoit stopping the breakaway from Aho. Larson got caught down low left corner, Bob, and that opened a seam down the middle. But again, Brossoit made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, he's had a solid performance tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, and you know, we've talked about Martin Natchez for the last 2 games, Jack. They got something here, and this we should establish this was a player on the Oilers' radar screen, but not one that they had any chance of getting at number 22.
Off the face-off, here's Russell, and he's going to take an icing call. Dashing back to draw the call, Bean with 13:59 to go in the second period, and Edmonton still holding a 2-0 lead.
So we have 2 players drafted in the first round of the 2017 draft that both have a chance to make their teams right now. Obviously, Yamamoto, the 5 goals in the preseason, everybody in Edmonton's talking about him. But Martin, it's been impressive. He's been an electrifying player, going 12th overall to Carolina.
Played for the Czech Republic at the World Juniors last year. Off the draw, handled by Russell, and he can fly. Cleared down the middle by Benning. The speed of Strome will negate any sort of icing, and now Cassian able to cut it off on the right half boards, but he turned it over. Natchez the steal, and it's flung out by Bean. Skinner and Ryan in on the forecheck against Benning. Over to Russell. Outlet to Cassian. He'll bank it off the wall left side. Taken by Kajula. Snapped it across for Benning, his good friend on and off the ice. And Benning will take it in deep, where he's immediately checked and held along the end boards by Bean. Cassian comes over to help out. Brushes the puck free. Kelly lumbering over to the right corner to put some pressure on Bean. A shaky pass up the middle, and Natchez bailed him out. Larson came over to cut it off. He'll step back across the line and fire it down deep into the Carolina zone. Ward will play it high off glass, and Nicolas Waugh ahead to Jeff Skinner with a step of Zikov. The centering pass deflected on net. A save made on Zikov by Laurent Brossoit. That was a fantastic stop. And Brossoit has been excellent, particularly here in the second period, where he's already stopped 6 shots, 4 of them high-quality chances. And as a result, Edmonton still leads 2-0. We're back to Saskatoon in just a moment with more Ford Dealers NHL preseason hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. Back live in Saskatoon, where Edmonton holds a 2-0 lead over Carolina, and a shot from the point by Jake Chelios was deliberately aimed wide. It kicked off the inboards, but Brossoit read that play and was able to reach back into his left to pull it into his chest. And that's another indicator that he's really on his game, finding the puck, the anticipation.
Bill Peters said yesterday in Oilers Now, Jack, he said that maybe the starter goes 52 games this year and the backup goes 30 in terms of the potential split between Darling and Ward. I don't know if Brossoit is going to get 30 starts, but I can see him getting between 22 to 26.
Off the face-off, a shot tipped by Fleury, and that was redirected into the pads of Brossoit. He's able to make the save, cleared by Edmonton, and then sat back in by Josh Joris. It'll all depend on the play of Cam Talbot. If he's as good as he was last year, I think it's going to end up more of a 60-20 split. We shall see, but that's how good Talbot was last season. Oilers bang it in deep. Yamamoto tried to boot it out in the slot. Picked off by Hayden Fleury. He'll gain the line right to left. Look to trade the puck back, but look at Yamamoto scampering back into his own zone, intercepting the puck, getting it ahead to Maroon, and now McDavid walks in. Right circle, cuts in front, loads, fires, and that was tipped at the last instant and hopped out of play. The net is also off its moorings, so the whistle comes with 8 minutes gone by in this second period. 2-0 Edmonton. We've talked about this, Bob, throughout the preseason. It's Yamamoto's ability to translate defense into offense that really strikes me in my first few games of viewing him.
You know, it's funny, Colin Priestner, the Board of Governor and GM of the Sascatuan Blade, talks about kids having 3 years of major junior experience, different than 2 years experience, that late birthday. And Yamamoto's maturity defensively, is on-ice awareness, is another reason why he's factored into the equation here for the Oilers this season.
Off the draw, a length of the ice cleared by Carolina. That'll be an icing call, and that turns an odd man rush and a tremendous scoring chance for Carolina into the exact opposite at the other end for the Edmonton Oilers, and he was able to get it to the right guy in Connor McDavid with one fell swoop.
Pass it to the best player on the team. Never go wrong.
Face off, left side of Cam Ward. Draw won by Rask against Leon Draisaitl. Carolina still waiting for the big breakout season from Victor Rask. 16 goals, 45 points a year ago. Not bad, but like Lindholm, he's left fans in Raleigh wanting just a bit. They haven't been poor draft choices. They just haven't been quite as good as maybe Carolina anticipated. Here's Matt Benning in his own zone to Chris Russell. Aho's another story. Draisaitl in over the line. And that will be an offside against Edmonton. 11:16 to go in the second period. Of course, Rask was a second rounder, but Aho also a second rounder, and he's off the charts.
Yeah, he's represented by Jerry Johansson Sports Corporation out of Edmonton. And I can't reiterate this point. I mean, Laine's an elite level finisher. Paul Yarby's trying to find his game at the NHL level. Aho, he can process it. He can make it happen. He can distribute the puck,
but he also shoots it.
Yes, he does. But he's got that on-ice awareness, and what a line that was at the World Junior Championship. Absolutely dominant.
Skinner able to win the faceoff for Carolina just outside the Canes blue line, and now Derek Ryan swooping in right side. Pressured by Adam Larson. Hesitates, feeds left side of the net, and it's Necek's. Off a screen from Skinner, skates out to the point, and now directed from the right corner to the slot for Skinner. Spins, shoots up high, and Brossoit catches one up near his clavicle with 10:48 to go in the second period, and still a 2-0 lead for Edmonton on the strength of first period goals by Kassian and Lucic.
Well, this is a team that's good in the face-off circle as well for Carolina. They've won a lot of draws, and that's gotten them the puck possession, and they're a quick team, and they're doing this tonight, out shooting the Oilers 16-8 right now, Jack, and they don't have any of their top four defensemen going. And that would, if I'm Todd McClellan right now, I'd be a little bit concerned. I know you're up 2-0, but your goalie's locked in. He's playing well. I know it's just preseason, but I think the Oilers need to have a little bit more of a push here.
8-1 in this second period, Bob. The shot clock in favor of Carolina. That's what we talked about at the end of the first period. 2-0 Edmonton, but we felt like the game was kind of even. In this period, it's been decidedly in favor of Carolina, but the Canes haven't found the scoreboard, and Brossoit, big reason why. Darnell Nurse off the last draw. He and Greiba paired together. Now snapped and soccered in by Puckerin, and he was not yet at center. They'll wave off icing, and Carolina's Cam Ward clutches, turned over. Russell a high shot, and then sailed over the net. One goal all of last season for Chris Russell. Back to the point. Russell hesitates. Left point. Threw it back behind the net. McDavid took it from Jake Chelios, and now in full flight. High slot down the middle of the ice. Backhanded to Yamamoto, who could not finish. He was sitting back door. Beautiful feed, and Yamamoto would love to have that one back. A clear by Giuseppe, and he took a hard shot from Matt Benning, who can really catch you if you're not prepared for it. Oilers' Pat Maroon will bang it in for Connor McDavid. Pressured by Van Riemsdyk into a turnover. Juris off to Kruger. One touch ahead, and here comes Brock McGinn. Back defensively as a V2, and he forced a shot that was off of V2's stick and up high. Centering pass, open man. Quick shot, Juris. That was blocked. His best year came with Calgary a couple seasons ago. Out to the point. Fleury broke his stick. Yamamoto looks for the lead pass from McDavid. Dropped it back to him, and perhaps one pass too many as McGinn was able to break it up. Fleury Fleury doesn't have a stick. He booted it over to McGinn and eventually advanced through to Van Riemsdyk. Now, regathering and striding down the left-hand side is Victor Rask. Pulls up and shoots to the waiting glove of Laurent Brossoit. That wrister disappears into the leather, and Brossoit's got his 17th save of the night. Edmonton with a 2-0 lead. 9 minutes to play, second period, live in Saskatoon with Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. 2-goal lead for Edmonton midway through the second period. Off the draw, Darnell Nurse races down the right side with Lucic and Puljujarvi alongside. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you. Edmonton's 2-goal lead, a product of first period strikes by Kassian and this man Lucic with a centering pass from behind the Carolina net to Puljujarvi. It was broken up. Puljujarvi got it back, flicked it over to Lucic, picked off by Lindholm and sent down the right-hand side for Aho. He'll pull up in the offensive zone and twist it along for Rask. Checked by Darnell Nurse. Behind the net, Puljujarvi won a puck battle, got it to Draisaitl, ahead to Lucic, and now he and Puljujarvi into the offensive zone left to right. Puljujarvi will swing it into the near corner. That's grabbed by Aho, and though pursued by Kajula, he'll escape the zone rather easily. Sent it ahead for Lindholm, who fires it in deep. Laurent Brossoit, 17 stops. Edmonton just 2 second period shots. Lead pass, Kassian and Kajula send it in deep. Strome playing the middle on this line after spending most of the preseason on the wing. Turned over, however, and Carolina's Trevor Carrick will reset for the Canes to Jake Chelios. Threw it near side for Skinner right in front of the Edmonton bench. He'll bank it off the boards. Spun the other way by Kajula. Ward out to handle it. Pressured by Kassian. Sends it ahead for Derek Ryan. Initially could not get it out. Second effort forced it back to center. Now Chelios off his back foot. Looked to move it to Natchez, but he was pressured by Strome, and Carolina must regroup back in its own end. 7:20 to play, second period. 2-0 Oilers. Skinner, the little wheel and spin, sent it down low. Brad Malone to gather for Edmonton off to Matt Benning, and now Chris Russell. Forked it back to Benning, who had it taken off his stick. High slot, Bean drops it off. One-timer Dahlbeck, blocked by Chris Russell. Annually among the league leaders in that category. Cleared back through the middle by Russell, settled by Bean, nudged back toward Russell, and then he'll golf it back inside the Carolina line. Turned over, Kelly is shot off the rush, and a save made by Ward with 6:49 to play in period 2, and Edmonton still leading by a count of 2-0. Oilers next in action, their preseason finale, Bob, as we wrap up on Saturday night, 8 o'clock in Vancouver.
I do not expect that game to have the pace of tonight's game. I think that you've got some older...
Even though maybe NHL regular season lineups or no?
Yeah, but I think there's some experienced players with Vancouver. For me, the Canucks do not have the speed that this Carolina team has. I think there's greater desperation with some of the Hurricane players that are trying to buy themselves another game here that we've seen in the lineup tonight and what we might see Saturday in Vancouver.
And I think that desperation matched on the Edmonton side by at least 4 or 5 guys I can think of. Dump in by Carolina, picked off by McDavid on a centering pass from Juric. He'll, in turn, give it up to Yamamoto coming over the line, and Yamamoto wanted to make 2 moves at the same time, coughed it up, and Carolina able to clear. Fleury, right side, stepping across the line is Brock McGinn. Hammered by a V2. Maroon joining the fray as well as the puck pinned along the kick plate, that yellow strip just beneath the dasher boards. A steal by Lindholm. Put it inside for Kruger. He got blasted by Adam Larson. And the Oilers will clear without too much trouble up the right-hand side. Fleury stood up McDavid as he tried to get around him. Ward put it up the boards. Yamamoto picked it off. He's got it deep right corner. Feeds Maroon. Back to Yamamoto. Couldn't get a shot away. Aho comes up with a puck and sifts it safely back through center. Saucered across to Greiba by Darnell Nurse, and Edmonton on a regroup now. Aho broke up an outlet pass, fired by Puljujarvi as he knew Lucic had a step off the end boards, but Ward played it safely out, and now Aho will gather at center and bring it back into the Edmonton zone. Trades the puck with Natchez, but then got erased by Lucic. Greiba pressures up ice. Chelios blew a wheel and fell down on his own accord, and now you've got a dish off from Ryan back to Carrick, and Carolina able to regroup. Natchez back across the line, cuts to his right, dishes off. Penalty coming against Edmonton. Here's Carrick. Feeds Aho on the left half boards. To the point, big hit, and down in a heap is Natchez. He was clobbered by Draisaitl. And the Canes none too happy with that hit. Meantime, one-timer Chelios saved Brossois. Rebound in front for Aho. Banged it off the side of the net. Waugh with the puck. To the right half boards. Natchez is staggered off. You've got Carrick high slot, faking the slapper. Now lets it fly. Tipped by Waugh, but wide. Ryan waiting for the rebound. Waugh sends it back to the point instead. Chelios shot tipped wide. Brossois on the rebound handled by Greiba. And now the penalty will come into effect. The initial call was certainly against Edmonton. And now are we going to get two?
Definitely. It's going to be a 5-on-3. Leon's going to go off here. Or call them both.
So Draisaitl will head off, and Carolina likely to be on a two-man advantage when we come back to Saskatoon. Our score, Edmonton 2, and the Carolina Hurricanes no score. Back in a moment with more live play-by-play and Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network. At this point, and at this point, at least according to the scoreboard, just a 2-minute minor to Leon Draisaitl.
I don't know how that's possible.
I actually saw an official indicate boarding, and I know the initial penalty was not a boarding call.
It was a hook.
And Bill Peters is really frustrated, so perhaps there was a situation where the officials got their signals crossed, but I saw the boarding indication.
Draisaitl hooked Natchez initially on his initial drive into the zone.
Blasted him into the boards for what appeared to be a second call, but Bill Peters and the Canes aren't going to get it. And this will simply be a 2-minute power play for Carolina with 4:37 to go in the second period, and the Edmonton Oilers holding a 2-0 lead.
And Bill Peters is still looking for an explanation here.
Carolina 0 for 2 on the power play. And again, this was problematic for the Canes last year. Face-off coming right side of Laurent Brossois. Turned aside all 18 he's seen tonight. Face-off win for the Canes, and it's smashed wide from the point by Skinner off his back foot. Saucer pass by Ryan to Carrick. Now another one-timer Skinner to save Brossois. Rebound circling behind the net. And finally feeding Derek Ryan was Waugh. Another drive by Skinner, blocked by Bennett. Carrick came over and swung it to the opposite wing for Ryan left side. He's got it in the corner. Quickly feeds DiGiuseppe. Carrick, DiGiuseppe, and now Ryan. DiGiuseppe one-timer to save Brossois. Rebound caught him in the mask. Russell won a battle down low, and the Oilers look to clear. Puckarinen can't get it out of the zone. Fed in front. Skinner tipped away from DiGiuseppe by Puckarinen. Laid it off the boards, did not get it out. Waugh will step into a slapper. No, he'll fake, and instead have it hacked out of his hands by Kassian, and will get a hooking call. With 3:44 to go in the second period, Puckarinen may be the one heading off, as Kassian was hacking and whacking. Puckarinen will get the hook, and now we'll have the 5-on-3 that Bob and I first anticipated moments ago.
Jack, the Oilers got into penalty trouble at home on Monday night, and I got to tell you, that one to me was far less noticeable than what Draisaitl did when we thought maybe there was a second penalty.
I thought Kassian did more than Puckarinen, quite frankly.
Mary Kay's in the house, Jack.
Off the draw.
Makeup call.
Here's Jake Bean trading the puck on the perimeter with Natchez, who's apparently okay. Feeds left side of the net, gets it back from Lindholm. Natchez. Lindholm waiting. Natchez. One-timer coming, and that was blocked. That's the one thing about Lindholm. Back to the net, Bob. Not a threat to shoot. That's why he was pulled off the power play at times last year in Carolina. Here's Bean. Right side. Trying to throw it in front was Aho. That was broken up. Lindholm sets a screen for him, and Aho was able to backhand it over to Bean. High slot, Natchez. Left side, Lindholm. Feathered it across, and unable to smack it out of midair was Aho. Here's Bean. Lindholm. Again, no shot. Back to Bean, and he muffed it. Jake Bean glides back to center, carries it back in. 12 seconds left on the 5-on-3. Here's Aho along the right half boards. Natchez waiting. Aho, high slot Bean. Aho, one-timer, and that was deflected and dribbled wide. Lindholm could not get to the puck. It was cleared by Adam Larsson. But Bob, we just watched that 5-on-3. That's what leaves people wanting as far as Elias Lindholm. The Canes are offside, right to left. When your back is to the net in a 5-on-3, you're essentially saying it's a 4-on-3 because you're not a threat to shoot.
Unless you have two players behind the end line, like Ralph Kruger had, and we were like, what is he doing? And then that European 5-on-3 ended up working. They were lights out, Jack.
But of course, Lindholm was above the goal line and thereby removing himself as someone that
could potentially jam the puck on the short side on a guy.
Right.
They were awesome on the 5-on-3 Monday night against the Oilers, and Teravainen was the player that made it happen for them.
Off the draw, Carolina brings it back in. 30 seconds left on a 5-on-4. Kelly able to pick off a pass back to the point, and now he'll find Malone stepping in right-hand side. Malone's best year came in Raleigh as a member of the Canes a few years ago. Here's Derek Ryan. Lines a pass over to Di Giuseppe. He'll serve it back to the point for Skinner. Fed to Carrick. Winds and fires wide blocker side. Rebound. Caromed off the glass. Skinner holds the zone. 5 seconds left on the power play. 100 seconds to go in the period. Edmonton's 2-0 lead remains intact. Both penalties expire, and the Oilers get out of it. But now we've got another call coming on the right-hand side for a hook. Minute 38 to go in the second period. And our referee, Brad Watson, will be sending Nicolas Waugh to the box. And now the Oilers have a chance to extend their current 2-goal lead. They've scored on their only previous power play of the night, as Lucic found the mark at 13-16 to the first from McDavid and Draisaitl. All three of those players on the ice now, along with Yamamoto and a V2.
Second penalty in this game for Nicolas Waugh. He's just trying to do too much. Member of Team Canada's silver medal team in the World Juniors this past year. Fourth-round pick of the Canes in 15, and he's playing his first preseason game tonight. He's been out with a concussion he suffered in their rookie tournament in Traverse City, Michigan. Off the draw, you've got McDavid finding Draisaitl, right point. He'll step to the face-off circle, dish off to McDavid coming out of the right-hand corner. A V2 will walk the line. Move it, Yamamoto waiting, sending it down low, centering past Lucic to Draisaitl, broken up. Yamamoto pestered by Van Riemsdyk, but again, the active stick able to keep it alive in the corner for now. Eventually, Kruger works it free for Hayden Fleury. He'll duck to his left and fire it down the ice. Out of the reach of Juris, McDavid takes over center ice, Draisaitl. 3-on-2, over the line, Lucic. Muffed the pass left wing, kept it alive against Van Riemsdyk, and now Yamamoto to Draisaitl. McDavid on the right half boards. Draisaitl coming off the goal line. Slipped one inside to McDavid. Got a piece of it, deflected it over to Lucic. Back to McDavid, less than a minute to go in the period. He'll step down the left-hand side. McDavid glides behind the net. Saucered it to Draisaitl. Back to McDavid from the goal line. Tried to sneak it back inside to Draisaitl. That was broken up. 30 seconds to go in the period. A V2. McDavid, centering pass, deflected from Lucic, intended for Draisaitl and Waugh. Rebound McDavid, 20 seconds. Draisaitl backdoor, looking for Yamamoto, broken up and cleared by Van Riemsdyk. Be about a 17-second carryover here. McDavid gains the line. Puljujarvi, right circle, loads up, steps to the net, centers, and Maroon couldn't find it. Cleared by Lindholm, and that will do it for the second period as both teams miss power play opportunities, and we have a scoreless second period as a result. The shots lopsided in favor of Carolina. 13 second period shots on net, a measly 4 for the Oilers. But having been outshot 21-11 through 2 periods, the Oilers have gotten superb work from Laurent Brossoit between the pipes, and they still have the first period goals by Kassian and Lucic to fall back on. They'll also be on the power play for officially 22 seconds to start the third period. Bob, I guess the best thing you can say real, a week from tonight, 8 o'clock against the Calgary Flames. Battle of Alberta, 8 o'clock, Rogers Place. Preseason finale, Saturday, 8 o'clock against Vancouver, right here on the Oilers Radio Network. Off the draw, Carolina able to control, milk the remaining time on Edmonton's power play,
and then drive it down the ice. Benning an outlet to Puljujarvi. Oilers started with 22 seconds left on the man advantage. That has just expired as Lucic's shot from the left point sails wide. Rebound out of the box is Waugh, and he's able to clear inside the Edmonton line. Draisaitl head to Puljujarvi, and the play is offside, right wing. 33 seconds having elapsed here in the third period. 2-0 Edmonton. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you live in Saskatoon. Reed Wilkins, Rob Brown back in our 630 CHED Studios, the flagship home of the Oilers Radio Network. First period goals by Kassian and Lucic, and 22 saves from Laurent Brossoit, the story tonight. Face off at center. Darnell Nurse handling and dishing off to Maroon. That sailed past him. Lindholm out to center ice for Carolina. Dahlbeck able to elude Yamamoto with a left wing feed for Victor Rask. Canes pour in left to right. They've outplayed Edmonton at times, particularly in the second period when they outshot them 13-4, but they can't get one past Laurent Brossoit. Here's Yamamoto up the right-hand side. Greiba not clean contact with the puck, so Aho will take over at center. Kick it back, first for Bean, then for Dahlbeck. And down the right-hand side comes Elias Lindholm. Brossoit will beat him to the spot, and Greiba clears up the right wing boards. Loose puck at center, and you've got Derek Ryan in the middle of the ice. Finding Skinner, loads and fires, and that went right off the chest of Brossoit. Rebound cleared by Darnell Nurse. Yamamoto couldn't clear. Neither could Ryan Strome, but now Kajula given a second act. Will look for Strome. Knocked off his stick from behind. Jake Chelios able to take over for Carolina. Carrick ahead to Ryan. He's bottled up by Kajula. Shot in eventually. Brossoit knocks it down. Kassian and Skinner came together on the far side. Nice crowd tonight at the Sascatuan Center. Holds as much as 15,000 for junior hockey. Blades draw on average about 5. There's probably, I'd suspect, 10 to 11,000 here tonight. Canes look to jam it up the right-hand side. Here's Ryan looking for Skinner. Larson cut him off. Puck forced free in front of the Edmonton net and gathered by Johan Avitu. Clefbaum not playing tonight, Larson's regular partner, so an opportunity for Avitu as he looks to lock down one of the top 7 spots on the blue line for Edmonton.
He's had a quiet night for me, Jack.
Strome backhands it in. Hayden Fleury back in his own zone. Quickly dished across, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk will lead the rush for Carolina left to right. Di Giuseppe will dump and chase. 2.5 minutes quickly elapsed here in the third. Still 2-0 Edmonton. Fleury pounds one toward the net. Block shot from Malone. Thrown toward, deflected by Russell, and batted into the corner by Brossoit. Thrown back in front. Shot by Zykov, tipped by Malone, who I continue to notice in every game he plays for the Oilers. Van Riemsdyk threw it back behind the net. Zykov, quick shot short side. Di Giuseppe denied by Brossoit. Rebound right corner. Di Giuseppe thrown into the boards by Benning, who's had a stronger performance in my opinion tonight. Zykov had one blocked, and now Benning comes down low, takes the puck away from Zykov and up the left-hand side. I thought Benning struggled in the first 5 or 6 minutes tonight, and he's played a good game since, in my estimation.
He has a stronger stick this year.
And it was in evidence right there as he won that battle from Zykov. But the Canes toss it back in. Josh Juris back to work. Clattered into by Draisaitl. Here's Russell with a hard rim up the right-hand glass and out. Brock McGinn will settle it down for Carolina. Off to Bean. Dahlbeck. McGinn in over the line right wing. Takes it to the hole against Nurse, who poke-checked it away. Hard hit by Greiba. That was nicely done against Kruger, and leads to a breakout for Lucic to Puljujarvi. Nurse the trailer. Puljujarvi muffed it, though. Nurse the active stick to keep it alive, albeit momentarily. Cleared by McGinn of Carolina. Into the waiting arms of Adam Larson back in his own zone for the Oilers. Backhands it to Puljujarvi, who in turn dropped for Draisaitl. Outlet to Lucic, broken up and tossed the other way by Aho. Looking for Victor Rask. Ran into interference in the form of Darnell Nurse, and it's cleared rather easily by Larson. Lucic had his outlet pass deflect off someone's backside and carry him directly to Larson. Threw it near side for Avitu and spilled in by Yamamoto. Scampering after it, Hayden Fleury on the dump and chase ploy, and cleared by Victor Rask. Now open ice for Aho. Trailer is Lindholm. Lindholm is offside as Aho kind of made a lateral move across the blue line to his left, and the the offside call comes with 4 minutes and 41 seconds having elapsed here in the third period, and the Oilers still leading 2-0.
And still without a shot on goal here in the third period. Not a lot of territorial play from Edmonton, and in terms of the two things I'm watching tonight, Yamamoto and Puljujarvi, they both had good moments, but they've also missed moments to finish off plays.
Well, and really, without a shot, Bob, in this period, and 4 shots in the last 25. Turnover Carolina by Fleury, and Strome finds a V2 shot into a crowd, and that was deflected. Wave has gone up here at the Sascatuan Center, home of the Blaze. Strome battling. Natchez able to clear back through center, and Larson will regroup for Edmonton back in his own zone. A V2 knifes it along for Larson. Puts one up the gut and carved in deep by Kassian. Ward comes out to handle the puck and chips it off the boards for Natchez. Now Fleury will activate. Left-handed shot, hits center and backhands it in. Puck scoots behind the Edmonton net, left for Russell by Brossoit. Benning finds Kassian right wing. He'll skate with it to center and hammer it behind the Carolina net. Ward gives it a look. Giuseppe won a battle with McDavid near side and tossed it ahead for Waugh. He'll gain the line. Club it over left side. Retreating is Bean. Back to Waugh. Left half boards. He'll move it to Zikov. Shot Waugh, save Brossoit with 14:05 left in regulation. Brossoit has 28 stops tonight. I mean, the shots on goal in this hockey game are now 20-4 Carolina since the first period.
Oilers even changed up their lines, Jack. They moved the Malone line out of rotation. They've had, we've talked about it all throughout the course of the second and third period here. They've had some challenges 5-on-5 territorially speaking. So they quick
But
shifted.
Malone is the guy on that line that I think has been just fine tonight. I know he took the penalty, but I noticed Brad Malone when he's out there.
And Pakarinen got a little bit bumped, and I thought that might have slowed him down. Second period, took a little bit of a shot in his knee.
Face-off win for Edmonton. Draisaitl tripped up high slot, no penalty called. Shot deflected just wide. Rebound Greiba. He'll pinch in from the right half boards. Thought there might have been an inclination to call a trip there against Carolina, but no. Draisaitl moves it to Puljujarvi. Nurse steps into a drive. That was blocked, however, by Dahlbeck, who, while lying prone, was able to clear up the right-hand boards. Greiba, with his teammates directing traffic, finds Draisaitl right wing. He's pressured immediately by Carrick, and it's forced around the boards, and a quick shot by a V2 is on net. Ward able to make the save, and that's Edmonton's first shot on net of this period. Now you've got Pakarinen keeping one alive. A V2, a shot off the blocker of Cam Ward, and a rebound drifts into the far corner. Pakarinen finishes his check. Malone and Kelly. And this line right on cue, Bob.
Yep.
Doing the job here, and has drawn a penalty for a trip. 12:58 to go in the third period. Carolina could not extract from its own end, and eventually Brock McGinn took a tripping penalty. We'll be back with Edmonton on the power play and leading 2-0 here early in the third period with Ford Dealers NHL preseason hockey. Radio Network. After Draisaitl was chased out of the circle, McDavid lost the draw, and Trevor Van Riemsdyk will whistle one down the right half boards, and Edmonton has to go into full retreat. A V2, Yamamoto, McDavid, Draisaitl, Lucic, your Atco Energy power play unit. A V2 in over the line, takes a drop pass from McDavid, and then feeds him back behind the net. Draisaitl set a screen for Yamamoto. Oilers 1 of 2 on the power play, leading 2-0 with 12.5 to go in the third period. Draisaitl right corner, finds McDavid, high slot, drifts to his left, centers, and Yamamoto could not get a backhander away. Carolina's Marcus Kruger with a clear down the right-hand side, a guy who spent the last 7 years in Chicago winning 2 Stanley Cups. A V2. Brings it back to center. Draisaitl ran into the linesman and Klaus Dahlbeck. And it's cleared down the ice once more by the Canes. A V2 under some duress from Derek Ryan, and now Lindholm putting token pressure on. Left side for Patrick Maroon, second unit out for Todd McClellan's club. Kajula in from the right side with Ryan Strome. Matt Benning dishes off, gets it right back from Puljujarvi, feeds him again, left circle, wrist shot to save made by Ward. Rebound kept alive by Maroon. Puljujarvi to Benning. Open man Strome. Shot tipped wide. That wrist shot is his bread and butter. Puljujarvi's got it back top of the right circle. Chopped down by Waugh. This time he gets away with it. And it's cleared finally by Carolina's Jake Chelios. 20 seconds left on the man advantage. Benning pushes ahead for Strome. He's wrapped up with Kruger right away. Has to kick it back to Benning. And the Oilers will have time for one last rush here. 11:10 to play, third period. It's 2-0 Edmonton. Down the middle of the ice, Puljujarvi. Maroon, shot left wing, save Ward. Rebound, club to the corner. Edmonton with a win would go to 6-1 on the preseason. With Saturday's finale against Vancouver scheduled for 8 o'clock right here on the Oilers Radio Network. Carolina back to full strength. Edmonton 1 of 3 on the power play. Carolina 0 for 4, including a minute and change of 5-on-3 time that Edmonton was able to kill off. Here's Chris Kelly. 5-on-5 at center ice, dumps it in. Quickly pushed out by Bean, and now both Kelly and Puckarinen a half stride offside with 10.5 to go in the third period. The Oilers 2, the Canes no score.
And there has been a little bit of special time, teams time for both teams, Jack, but we have not seen the dominance of Martin Necas since Draisaitl landed that heavy cross check on him late in the second period. Chris Kelly out on the ice, he's fighting for his spot, and a guy playing with him, Brad Malone, may be part of the reason why he ultimately doesn't get signed if he doesn't ink a deal with the Oilers. Malone's played well and good call-up option for Edmonton.
Off the draw, Chris Russell brings it into the zone. Long wrist shot, easily blockered aside by Ward. Rebound cleared by Carolina. Back in deep. Russell to Larson on the far side, and now Malone. He'll bring it up to center, and a penalty away from the play. And now Chris Kelly comes together with Trevor Carrick, who's battling for a spot. Carolina's got a ton of puck-moving defensemen. Carrick's offensively gifted and likely will have to ripen a bit more. He's entering his 4th year as a pro. Kelly will go to the box here. Carolina will be back on the power play. So, the Canes 0 for 4. You mentioned the other night, their 6-2 verdict over Edmonton, keyed by an effective power play.
3 for 6 in that game. They got 2 on 5-on-3s.
Swah's been the great equalizer tonight with 27 stops. Off the draw, you've got Skinner feeding Derek Ryan. Centering pass picked off by Puckarinen. Out there with Nurse, Greiba, and Cassian. Nurse had a chance to move it. Did not initially get it out, but Cassian helped bail him out, and Greiba will skate to center, dump it in. Gave Skinner an extra chop that Carolina's leading goal scorer did not particularly appreciate. Guy who scored 17 goals down the stretch for Carolina to keep their flickering playoff hopes alive. Ultimately, they fell 8 points short. Skinner's got it left side. Hacked by Russell off his stick, and here come the Oilers. A 2-on-0. Shorthanded, McDavid, breakaway, wrist shot, score! 3-0 Edmonton. A 2-on-0 shorthanded, and McDavid finishes.
A one-puck battle at the Oilers' blue line as it was Russell converging with Drake Caggiula, and it got poked up the boards, and then Caggiula had McDavid busting up the ice and just one-handed a pass over, and McDavid does it the rest of the way. Cam Ward deep in his crease. He has to respect the speed of McDavid coming in, and Connor McDavid beats him to the blocker side.
Another multi-point outing for McDavid, a goal and an assist. In the win over Winnipeg, he had a goal and 2 helpers. And that's 7 points now for McDavid in the NHL preseason as he wrests the team lead away from Yamamoto. Off the draw, chipped in by Edmonton. Carolina still on the power play, remember. Necas overskated. Here's Yamamoto scampering down the left-hand side, but he overran the play, and it's offside against Edmonton. Oilers had notions of another odd-man rush shorthanded. How about a 2-on-0? And Caggiula able to find McDavid for the shorthanded goal that likely puts this one away. 9-11 to go in the third, and it's now 3-0 Edmonton.
Well, it was a 2-on-0, but Caggiula was flat-footed along the boards as he got the puck up. He wasn't going to be able to get back into the play, and away went McDavid. But you can say that about pretty much every forward in the NHL, Jack.
I was going to say, a 2-on-0 quickly descends into a 1-on-0 when you're talking about Connor McDavid and his Jets. Here's Cassian protecting the puck now shorthanded. Out there with Puckerine and Larson and Nurse. And Edmonton harassing Carolina into a number of regroups in its own zone. The latest taken by Natchez. He'll move it left side. Gaining the line and a hard hit on Bean. And ultimately poke checked away by Puckerine. And back to center. Brad Malone forces Lindholm into a quick dish left side. Natchez brings it down low. Poked away from behind by Malone and wired the full 200 by Adam Larson. And that will do it for a disastrous Carolina power play. Hurricanes not only fail to slice the deficit in half, but have now seen it grow to 3-0. McDavid a goal and a helper tonight. And Brossoit did not even face a shot on goal on that last power play. Strome a nice play on the boards to move it up to McDavid. Left wing now at even strength. Quick shot, score! McDavid twisted up Hayden Fleury, and when he got his chance, he put it upstairs. 4-0 Edmonton. McDavid with a pair of goals in less than 2.5 minutes.
Well, 2 years ago, Hayden Fleury was defending one-on-ones against guys like Lane Bauer, the Western Hockey League. And I don't know how many players in the AHL last year have a sort of skill set and speed that Connor McDavid has, but he just isolated Fleury, used him as a screen, and whipped it past Ward.
Strome makes the play, though. That was a nice play by Strome along the boards. Off the draw, Carolina may have been offside. For a second, I thought they were going to get Strome with a hand pass, that little play he made against the boards, but he triggered McDavid going the other way, and Edmonton's turned out the lights. It's 4-0. We're back to Saskatoon in just a moment with more Four Dealers NHL preseason hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. 4-0 Edmonton. Final 8 minutes here in Saskatoon as Connor McDavid with 2 third-period goals. Cassian and Lucic in the first, and the Oilers putting Carolina away. Greiba's going to have a retaliation penalty whistled on him. As Carolina entered the zone, there was a sequence along the end boards, and Greiba kind of finished with an extra shot. Now Carolina gives him a shove. Greiba, of course, grew up in the area. So did Cam Ward, the Canes goalie tonight. Todd McCullough, the Oilers head coach, played for the Saskatoon Blades from 1983 through 87.
Guys like Marcel Como were coaching him back in the day. Greiba had a little bit of a nasty exchange early in the period with Jeff Skinner, and I think that he gave a little bit of a tap there to McGinn. McGinn, one of the 3 brothers that's played in the National Hockey League.
Cross-check.
Yeah, there was no doubt about it. I mean, that's totally a cross-checking penalty. Jack, while we have time, let's do the Service Experts game story. Trust the heating, cooling, and plumbing experts at Service Experts today to help keep you comfortable all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS today.
What direction are you going in here?
Well, I got a Brossoit is one of those stories, because this was a game where Carolina was the better team on 5-on-5 for about 45 minutes of this game, and Laurent Brossoit's got 27 saves, and then McDavid with a shorthanded goal and an even strength goal to open this one up.
2 goals in 92 seconds for Connor McDavid. Has turned a 2-0 lead into 4-0 and complete security. Now Carolina, a power play. It's 6th of the game. They're 0 for 5 of the shorty against. And a pass that was flubbed by Natchez will force Carolina to reset in neutral ice. Cassian, Puckerine, Nurse, and Larson on the brick penalty kill. Gaining the line, Bean to Lindholm. Right wing for Carolina. Whipped around the boards. You've got Aho. Resetting to the corner. Lindholm. Aho. One-timer Bean. Blocker save. Brossoit. His 28th of the night. Canes float one along the end boards. Natchez tried to kick it out in the slot. Cassian anticipated, picked it off, and floated a backhander down the ice. Carolina's power play now down to a minute, 6:20 left in regulation. Oilers with 2 in the first and 2 here in the third by McDavid. Lead at 4-0. And now McDavid's just 1 off the NHL lead in preseason points. Of course, won the MVP in the Art Ross a year ago. Derek Ryan in from the right-hand side, knocked off a stick by Russell, whose second opportunity will, in fact, clear the zone, and Kelly will usher it down with a backhander that forces Cam Ward to come out and play the puck. Now in his 13th year in Carolina Red, Cam Ward in from the left-hand side, shot in by Giuseppe. Right corner, dug out, fired down the ice rather easily by Johan Avitu. Cut his teeth as a Red Deer Rebel, did Cam Ward, and he'll be, I mean, if Darling plays well, Ward is going to have to push to play as many as 30, 35 games. Darling last year was top 5 in the league in save percentage. Carolina bangs it down low. Cassian with a clear. Greibe is out of the box, and he challenges Hayden Fleury before peeling off on a change. 5 minutes to play.
That would be called a rare offensive foray for him.
I was going to say, not often you see him cutting to the front of the opposing net. Van Riemsdyk tries to clog up Edmonton's breakout. Draisaitl backhands it ahead for Puljujarvi, and Ward got just enough to deflect it past Puljujarvi to Van Riemsdyk for a Canes clear. Tossed in eventually by McGinn, and Brossoit out to handle the puck. Waugh tried to sneak in there. Got a piece of the puck, flicked it over to Benning, finding Nurse for Edmonton. Left wing for Lucic, and he'll slash it deep into the Carolina zone. Edmonton makes a change. 4.5 to play, third period. 4-0 Edmonton. Maroon reached out. The jersey was tugged clearly, but no penalty. Maroon dropped his stick. Centering was Waugh. That was broken up, and McDavid the other way. Already with 2 goals and an assist tonight. Puts the brakes on to the point. Slapper sent high and wide by Greibe. Scored twice last year. Russell behind the net. McDavid, the captain, tried to slither one inside of Yamamoto. Stolen away by Bean. Ahead to Zykov and chipped safely back to center. Yamamoto with a steal. McDavid down the slot for the hat trick. Great shot save made by Ward. And McDavid's drawn a penalty, I believe, against Jake Chelios. Crowd screaming for a penalty shot. They're not going to get it.
Great play by Yamamoto.
Look at McDavid. He was hovering around center ice and had to be waved off. No, there will not be a penalty shot on the play. Crowd trying to sell it, and we have time for one last break. Back in just a moment. Oilers return to the power play. They've got this one well in hand. It's 4-0 in Saskatoon with 4 dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network. We welcome you back live to Saskatoon. 3:53 on the game clock. 2 minutes on the penalty clock. That's Malone for reeling in Connor McDavid after Yamamoto, and yet another example of his ability to make a defensive play turn into instant offense. Oilers back on the power play, but Carolina clear off the draw.
Jack, if that was Dennis Weidman defensively, that would have been a penalty shot.
Benning will chip it in from center ice. I'm going to leave that one alone. It's early in the year. I'll probably join in on those by game 20 or 25. Here's a clear by Strome out to the point. Benning to Puljujarvi. Slap shot blocked by Fleury. Rebound to Benning. Back to Puljujarvi. Loads this time. Snap pass to Strome. High slot Benning. Right circle Puljujarvi. Feeds the side of the net. Maroon in front. Kajula half-fanned on it. Fighting for the rebound is Strome. Neat between the wickets pass to Kajula by Benning. Now Puljujarvi. Face-off circle right. Shot into the pads of Cam Ward. He'll freeze it with 2:58 to go in the third.
Definitely Jesse Puljujarvi's had a step forward game tonight. Had some tough moments. Again, I don't think the Oilers, Leon Draisaitl, Milano Lucic were really engaged in that first game against Carolina. And, you know, for a player like Lucic, it gets better the more physical it gets, and the Hurricanes don't exactly have one of the more physical teams in the NHL. See what McDavid can do here in the hat trick, or going for the hat trick on the power play.
Is that a subliminal message?
Yes.
You're subtle there, partner.
Well, if he scores, all great broadcasters are 20 seconds ahead of the play.
Face off, left side of Cam Ward. Off the draw, won by Draisaitl. It did elude Johan Avitu, so Edmonton has to regroup anyways. Avitu to McDavid to Lucic. Avito reaches the zone. McDavid tried to sneak one inside, and Dahlbach picked it off and fired it down the middle of the ice. 45 seconds left on the man advantage here. 2.5 to go, third period. Edmonton 4, Carolina no score. 4-goal loss for the Oilers on Monday to the Canes. 4-goal lead right now. McDavid over the line. Avitu. Draisaitl on the right half boards. McDavid have it dribble off his stick, and Dahlbach pounced on it and cleared down the left-hand boards. 2.25 to go in the third. Oilers will change it up here for for the final 20 seconds of this Atco Energy Power Play. Bob and I back on the air for the preseason finale Saturday in Vancouver, 8 o'clock. Start right here on the Oilers Radio Network. Season opener a week from the night. Edmonton plays host to Calgary. Battle of Alberta at Rogers Place, also 8 o'clock. Off a dump-in, Carolina will clear, and that'll be all for the Oilers' power play. 1 of 4 tonight. Carolina 0 for 6 with a shorty against. Kelly catches an outlet pass cleanly, ahead to Greiba. He'll gain the line, right wing snap it into the glove of Cam Ward, who will stick that one in his hip pocket. And now more pushing and shoving, and we're going to have a fight. Greiba stringing out Trevor Carrick. Carrick lands a couple of overhand rights on Greiba, and as his helmet comes off, he wrestles Greiba to the ice. And no real meaningful blows landed in that fray. I think more than anything, Carrick might bruise some knuckles on the headgear of Eric Greiba, who after a slow start in this preseason, I think has been impressive in his last couple of outings.
He's been looking for it tonight, too. Yeah. I mean, he has been involved. By the way, Brock McGinn got a healthy piece of the Oilers' Kailer Yamamoto, as Yamamoto made a play at the blue line on the power play. And Greiba went after Carrick, and Carrick got a little bit of advantage, got the right hand started. He didn't land one shot of any consequence. I think, you know what, I think that, because of the fact that Eric Greiba knows this building, probably knows there's a shortage of hot water for the showers. He's just trying to get himself in there a little early. He's had a little bit of a nasty, he's had a bee in his bonnet here in Saskatoon.
Well, he just wants the people in his hometown to know he hasn't lost that edge, right?
Grew up playing hockey with Braden Shen.
Off the draw, shot Chris Russell with 100 seconds left to play. Stopped by Cam Ward. Canes sift one up the right-hand side. Zykov lost the handle. Ward a poke check, and a backhander by Avitu was kicked out by Ward, who scrambled back into position to get that with the right pad. Victor Rask hit the line, wanted no part of Matt Benning, who stood him up at the blue line. Then a weird kick off the end boards works in Carolina's favor. Zykov to Dahlbeck. His shot blocked in front. Aho can't find it. Zykov did, but pushed it wide. Rebound Rask. High slot Dahlbeck. Final minute to play. Ryan Strome with a clear up the right-hand boards for Edmonton, and they'll wave off icing here. Edmonton breaking it open. Connor McDavid, a pair of goals in 92 seconds, turning a 2-0 lead into the current 4-0 working margin for Laurent Brossoit, who's got 30 stops. Nurse denies an outlet for Waugh. The puck pops free, and Kelly will kick it back to Nurse inside the Oiler blue line. Now Adam Larson, lead pass left wing. Kelly smothered for a moment, got it ahead for Puckarinen. Brossoit's going to go to 3-0 in the preseason after going 4-1 with a save percentage approaching 93 in regular season play last year for Edmonton. Lead pass for Carolina, right wing Juris, knocked down by Darnell Nurse. Final 15 seconds here, and Edmonton will preserve the shutout. Kelly will hand off for Larson. Final 5 seconds. Edmonton and Carolina will split in the preseason as they have in each of the last 3 regular seasons. A 30-save shutout for Laurent Brossoit, and another 3-point outing for Connor McDavid, including 2 third-period goals. Lock it up. Edmonton moves to 6-1 in the preseason. Carolina drops to 4-2. One more preseason game.